So there's this video of two people on an escalator and the escalator breaks down and it stops. And both of them are like frustrated and mad. And one of them just like sighs like super big out of frustration and mumbles like, I don't believe this. And then the other person on the escalator, when it breaks down, just yells out like, hey, is anyone there? There are two people stuck on an escalator. And there they stand. They stand and enough time passes that they're like lying on the escalator waiting for people to save them. And it's funny. It's funny because, well, what does an escalator turn into when it breaks down, when it stops moving, right? So that's funny. But it does pose like really valid questions, I think. And that is, are we really stuck? Are we the ones getting in our own way? Are we seeing the start of something as negative before it ever happens? Are we letting past experiences or feelings hinder new ones? Hinder a chance at redemption and good things? Are we so upset or distracted or caught up in another vision that we have for ourselves that we don't even realize that our escalator turns into stairs? Are we beginning to believe that things can't be different? Are we realizing and taking advantage of other things that we have to keep us moving forward? I remember this Ensign article like 8 years ago by President Nelson, and he was talking about the birth of Christ. Well, he was talking about Mary, and he said that they likely have camped out multiple times because the journey would have taken 3 to 4 days. And so I was thinking about their journey, and I was thinking about the discomfort Mary was in the last few days of her pregnancy, especially because right now I am literally in my last week of pregnancy and I am severely uncomfortable. And I was thinking about all the opportunities that came up through her travels on the donkey and they didn't work out. And I was thinking about how badly she wanted that in, but she was denied. Like, that seemed like such an amazing thing, and how heartbreaking it was. It would have been for me when it didn't work out. Now, was it because Mary was being punished? Was it because she did something wrong? Like, no, not at all. But Heavenly Father, he had something else in mind. A manger. Now, it was not what Joseph and Mary had in mind. It was far from perfect in what they wanted, but it was part of Heavenly Father's plan. And President Nelson, he says that as soon as they got to the manger, Christ was born. Like, Christ could have been born any time, but he wasn't, not until they were where Heavenly Father wanted and needed them to be. Could you imagine if Mary and Joseph didn't keep going? Or if they were accepted into the inn, would the shepherds find them? Would others find them? Would it have been, it would have been different? Would it have blessed others and fulfilled the plan and prophecies? Surely the birth of Christ was quite perfect in every way. It was the best way rather than the good or the better way. It was according to plan. And it's easy to think that we know better when we observe things with our mortal eyes and our knowledge that we have been given. And we ask God why he's doing a certain thing a certain way with us in our situation when things don't seem to add up. Like in Jacob, when the laborer asked, like, why are you bringing that branch to the poorest soil? And we also wonder and ask, like, why are you bringing me to this unwanted spot? Like, what good can come from this? What if Peter sinking when he's walking on the water wasn't just about doubt? What if there's more to it? That causes him to sink? Because I love watching the Bible video, because when he's walking on the water, you'll notice that like he starts to look around and he notices the wind, and then he notices this big loud like thunder crack, and then he starts looking around at his surroundings and he loses focus and becomes distracted from what he's doing, distracted from Christ, distracted by things we feel are worthy variables, when in fact, what if they're not? What if, like the laborer in the vineyard, we look around and we become distracted by what doesn't seem to make sense, and we spend our time worrying about things that really only end up taking our focus off of Christ and his ability to do the impossible and defy logical odds. Are we trapping ourselves? Are we getting too distracted by all these other variables that we lose focus on what's most important? Are we missing things to do or new opportunities coming up or resources available to see our broken escalator as stairs? The next time we look around and things look dark and undesirable and it seems we are working against odds and logic and we wonder how anyone can grow or continue under these circumstances, think of the olive trees. Little growth and a lot of correction comes to those who are in a desired place or a place of comfort. And much growth and much fruit came from those in the less than ideal spot. When we feel God has turned his back on us, turn around. We can overcome thoughts from the adversary by knowing and saying what Christ said. And yet I am not alone because the Father is with me. And if we continue to move forward and see it all through and take advantage of a perfect God who knows every bit of us because he created us, our life will grow and it will blossom and it will be profoundly grateful things didn't go the way that we had in mind. What could life look like for us if we waited for our manger? If we waited for our best rather than something good or better? What could unfold and blossom if we waited for our something perfect according to him, according to his plan? I know it can be hard and full of discomfort, just like Mary. But when you see opportunities pass, keep going with faith, knowing that there is something else to come, that you're not being punished. And when it is his time, it's going to happen. Just like the birth of Christ. And it's not just going to bless you, but profoundly help and bless so many others because of it, because you waited, because you trusted him, because you know that he will not fail thee. You deserve what he has in store for you. Don't get discouraged. It will come and it will be better than what you had in mind.